Hello, everybody, and welcome to MangaPod. We are a weekly podcast in which we all get together after we've read all or part of a manga, and then we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. I am Erin of HappiLeeErin, your host. This week we read Vagabond, chapters 1 through 49. Unlike what it's written on the splash screen that says 39. It's a funny story. We'll tell that in a little bit. But yeah, so I'm Erin, HappiLeeErin. Welcome here to my lovely co-host and a wonderful guest.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Dodger. And I'm excited to talk about Vagabond. I had no idea what to expect, so.
Wow, spoiler for the spoiler.
I know. I'm jumping ahead. I'm sorry.
Completely ruining my experience, Dodger. Hi, my name's Lou, and I'm from Lou Talks Anime, and I'm way more sober this time.
That makes it sound like you're just drunk every manga pod. It's like,
no, last time made up for like the entire year.
All right, how's it going, guys? ZoroFanboy124 here, and I'm new to MangaPod. Thank you guys for inviting me. I am a huge fan of Vagabond. I'll contain my inner fanboy when it comes to the series, but let's just save that for the review part, okay? Thanks for inviting me, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
I'm happy to be here.
Very happy to have you on. And as you can tell, there's no Yoku, despite the fact that this was the manga he picked for his birthday pod, which I don't. It's not this week, but
I'm disappointed.
It's very sad that he's not.
Yoku.
He's not feeling very good, so it's a totally fine example. So you guys should go send him love on Twitter and tell him to feel better. If you guys have never joined us for a manga pod before, what we like to do is give you a short spoiler-free description, aka a summary, and then we will give you our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we believe you should spend time going to read this manga or not. That way, if you have not read the manga yet, you can hear our thoughts there, and then take your leave and go read it, then come back and watch the VOD of this on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/HappiLeeErin, where you can find all the previous manga pods. So, let's do spoiler-free description, Mr. Zoro.
All right. Growing up in 17th century Sengoku era Japan, Shinmin Takuzo is shunned by the local villagers as a devil child due to his wild and violent nature. Running away from home with a fellow boy at age of 17, Takuzo joins This is a lot of Japanese names, so please don't kill me if I get this wrong. The Toyotomi army to fight the Tokugawa clan at the Battle of Sekigahara. I think I got that right. However, the Tokugawa win a crushing victory leading to nearly 300 years of shogunate rule. Takuzo and his friends manage to survive the battle and afterwards swear to do great things with their lives. But after their paths separate, Takuzo becomes a wanted criminal and must change his name and his nature in order to escape an ignoble death. Based on the book Musashi by Eiji Yoshikawa, Vagabond is a fictional retelling of the life of Miyamoto Musashi, often referred to as the Sword Saint, perhaps the most famous and successful of Japanese sword fighters.
Awesome.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you very much. You did very good.
I was terrified I was gonna mess up some names, but
you're among people who stumble over their words, or at least me. So you're fine.
Yeah, don't worry.
Don't worry about it. So let's do spoiler-free recommendations. Would anybody particularly like to go first?
I can go first since I already kind of went a little bit. I thought this was great. I didn't know what to expect, and I thought that it was fantastic. I didn't know that it was going to be based off of a real person who existed in the world. The art is wonderful, and I really, really enjoy the story so far. I found myself just next chapter, oh my god, I'm done. It just flew by. So yeah, it's a really quick read, honestly, because it's very action-packed, but I loved it. I absolutely recommend it.
I want to go next. Absolutely same, identical experience. It was it was a fantastic read, and I honestly had trouble putting it down. Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend it. In terms of its action and the violence it presents, it's definitely some top tier stuff. I put it in terms of the nature of the violence, almost with Vinland Saga, in terms of how violent and how gory and how great it handles those things. So definitely, if you're into Vinland Saga or other really violent manga, I highly recommend it.
It's funny you bring up Vinland Saga because they have a lot of similarities and actually very similar arcs, which I don't want to spoil quite yet. But let me just say about Inoue real quick, the author of Vagabond. He's my favorite mangaka of all time. He did Slam Dunk, this, and he did Real. I recommend everybody check out Real. It's a
Real is
fantastic
so
story.
good.
Real is great.
Break your heart. But anyway, this is a series that I just adore. I think it's a fantastic story of not only a person trying to find themselves through fighting, but also mentally and a spiritual journey. And it has a lot of great characters that really, I mean, a lot of series like this, you know, samurai series, they just try to be as gory or graphic as can be, and they don't really have a soul to it. Blade of the Immortal comes to mind. No offense to any Blade of the Immortal fans.
Calling it out.
I'm just saying. But Vagabond, I feel like it tries to not only tell a story of a samurai getting stronger and achieving, you know, getting stronger and beating better foes, but also trying to learn a little bit about, you know, what it is to be a good person and what it means to be quote unquote strong. So I think that this is a fantastic series, very philosophical and very well done. So I'll just leave it at that.
I agree with everybody's recommendations. Like, you guys kind of said everything that I feel. Like, the art is great as expected of this mangaka. He has had amazing art for every single series that he's done. And the story is really engaging, mostly because the action is really great and really paced really well. While there's also having the emotional side of it with the characters too. And so, like, we've only read 49 chapters. I only read 39.
I feel so bad.
Because I don't know how to read, so that's my bad. It's fine. But even, like, though I read 10 chapters less than everybody else, I was still really engaged into the story and was really enjoying it and want to read more. I finished 39. I was like, man, I wish I could read more of this. So yeah, I recommend it. I think it's really intense, but also really interesting, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So I recommend it. So we all highly recommend it to all of you in chat. That is as spoiler free as this MangaPod's gonna get. If you've never joined us before, we have a very strict spoiler process here. In the chat, both on YouTube and on Twitch, do not spoil anything past what we read past chapter 49. If you do, even if it's like a fake spoiler or like a vague thing, you'll get a warning and then you'll get timed out and then you'll get banned. So please don't do it. We take that very seriously because we don't want to be spoiled on anything. You're rotten bacon bud if you do. That is our term for people who spoil. So yeah, let's jump into spoiler section. So countdown, please.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Musashi Miyamoto is God.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Lou is the only one who put in effort for that one. Like, we were just like, somebody else. I'm wondering, like...
I was gonna say graphic violence or the way of the sword, but no.
The way of the sword is God.
It's
The way of the
same
sword
thing.
is God.
I'm into it.
I mean, it is. I mean, that's what Miyamoto is. Like, that's what he's meant to embody.
Here's the way of the sword.
I want Takuan to be my uncle. I want him to, like, just to guide me through life. I just love that character.
I wish he was my senpai.
Oh my god, when that, not jumping the gun a little bit, but when that little kid started to follow him, I was like, oh.
My heart. Yeah.
Should you tell us where you stopped?
I
so that we know.
stopped when they were at, like, right when they were traveling to the one place where oh god, what's the girl's name? I'm sorry, I'm really tired.
Otsu?
Otsu, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where they were traveling to, like, her place, or they were, like, showing the people that were there. The guy's arms got cut off.
Right at the beginning at the temple.
Yes, the temple there.
Okay.
Sorry, that was
Okay.
really vague. I promise I read this manga.
Okay. Oh
Right.
Man. Oh, Aaron.
You missed
Just
so
spoil-
much.
You missed so much.
Spoil it! I don't care. I did it to myself.
Okay.
Just do what
All right,
you're
so
expecting,
there's-
and then
there's
tell
a
me.
mecha?
Yeah, tell me what happened.
There's a mecha, and then aliens invade, and then
Was
Musashi turns into an actual god.
Was there banging involved?
All of the
Did
bangs.
everybody bang?
Yeah,
Everyone
it's
bangs,
Gantz,
yeah.
except it's really good instead of Gantz.
Everybody banged.
Everybody banged, and it was all consensual and wonderful.
Good. That's what I was hoping would happen, so I'm glad. And they're only like we're only at chapter 49. There's like 250 left to go.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen on
150.
chapter 69, am
Yeah,
I right?
jeez. Egg!
So you saw the guy get his arms chopped off.
Yes.
So that's at a shrine where they specialize in spear techniques.
Okay.
And so basically how to explain this? He winds up like going with the little kid to find the people who do the spear stuff, right?
Right. He's gonna challenge them. He's gonna challenge the head of the
He
spear
wants
school.
to challenge them, right? Okay, cool.
Right.
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
starts heading that way, and he runs into an old man, and the old man, he senses bloodlust from the old man, and the old man's like, no, it's not my bloodlust, it's your blood.
Yeah, I saw that part. I saw that
Okay,
part.
you did see all of that.
Yes,
Okay,
I
great.
saw that part.
Okay, so then he winds up going to the shrine, and the current head of their spear stuff
Okay.
is another young kid who's just like really cocky, but he's like, you know, Aang from The Last Airbender.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
He's
Is he
like,
an Aang?
Is it because he's bald? It's the bald thing. isn't
no,
it?
he's also
It's
just
his
got that
personality
like,
too.
yeah, he's got that joie de vivre, right? Like he's so just excited to be like fighting, and like he and Musashi start fighting, and the whole time he's just like, whoa, this guy's so intense. This is a real life or death battle. I'm gonna get so strong, but I gotta kill you because you're out to kill me. So no hard feelings, buddy. And literally at the point where we stop is where he's like about to do the killing blow, right? Like,
Horrible
Yeah.
cliffhanger.
yeah.
No, and I went to the next chapter because fuck it. I was.
Oh, I did not. I made myself not.
No, I did, and I got to like the first couple panels, and it was something different, and like it
Did
didn't
they
advance
bang?
that pa-
Were
I
they
was-
banging?
Yes.
So-
they
Was that the
banged.
final blow? They just banged?
Without spoiling it, some people might be disappointed in Musashi after. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, the thing is, I only got a couple
Don't talk
panels
about
in.
stuff that happens
Yes,
after.
No,
Run, bacon
That's-
nuts!
no,
Run,
what I-
bacon
What I'm gonna
nuts!
say is that I tried to. I was gonna read further, but then I saw that it was going a different direction, and then I stopped. So I didn't really retain any information.
Rotten
Right.
bacon
But
butts up in here.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. It was really good.
You guys are
You all should-
spoiling all this for me.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. It's
You
fine.
told
Sorry.
us it was okay.
I know, I'm
Give
kidding.
us spoiler approval.
I did. I allowed you to be the butts. The rotten bacon butts.
I approved these butts.
This guy
I
Isshin,
approved of
though,
this
is
booty.
just as strong as the other head of school, the Yoshiaka school. Like he's just as strong as Seijiro, the guy, the womanizer guy.
Really?
He's just as that guy. Yeah, he said he's the only one that was my rival growing up. Was the only person my equal. He said at one point. So you can tell how strong he is when Musashi fights him.
Yeah, if you
Because-
if you say that, like I get an idea. But like that is a different personality too, from what you guys were saying.
Yep.
Yeah. So what were we never dreamt before? We usually start with question: what were your expectations before reading this manga or rereading it? Since somebody has already read it, which is totally great. We don't have to explain the last quarter of what we've read to one of the hosts. That usually doesn't happen. So if this is your first manga pod, I promise it doesn't usually happen like this. So yeah, Dodger, you said yours, right?
Yeah, basically. I had no idea what to expect from it. I knew that it was going to be like a period piece and that it had to do with fighting, but I didn't expect to love it as much as I do and get like so into it. It's great. So, yeah.
I think that's the same for me. Like I had heard from basically everybody in the anime manga community who had checked out Vagabond, and like a lot of people have checked out Vagabond, surprisingly. And it's been requested since I think the first time we had a request thread. So it's been requested for the last like 3 years. And so it had to be, I figured it had to be a higher caliber. And I was not disappointed. And I really enjoy history, like books and movies and TV shows. And so I went into it expecting to enjoy it because it was a period piece. But I wasn't expecting as much action and as like intense with the characters' relationships. I wasn't expecting that. And I'm really happy that I got that, because otherwise it could have just been really stale and boring. But it jumped right into action and emotion, which are two things that like I really enjoy being gripped by. So yeah.
Yeah.
See,
When I first, you go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
You're the guest.
when I first read Vagabond, I was just going into it, as a fan of samurai manga and anime, and I just like, this is probably another one. I didn't really have any expectations whatsoever for it. Honestly, I just felt it's just gonna be another series. And let's see how it is. I think actually a manga pan, I did the surprise me thing. On some of the manga sites, I got which one surprised me.
Oh yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, and I was blown away. I was in it for the fights, and I stayed for the feels. That's it.
Oh my god, I could say that about so many manga.
I stayed for the feel. It was
for the feels.
It's wonderful. Like I might be a what's it called, a what butt, whatever. I don't want to be that guy and spoil.
Rotten bacon butt.
A rotten bacon butt.
A what butt?
I don't want you to be a what butt either.
I don't either.
But honestly, the only series I can really compare it to is probably like a Vinland Saga. It just has so many layers to it that are not your usual manga layers that you usually get from most series. It's not superficial. It cuts deep, and it's wonderful. It's just amazing. That's all I can say. So it blew me away.
Like, my expectations going into this manga were, I knew it had a reputation for having a very clean art style and being very graphic. I did not expect it to have as much depth behind its characters and behind the narrative that it was starting to build, because we're still very early in the story. I mean, Erin mentioned earlier that there's like 300 something chapters out, and it's still ongoing.
Yeah.
So, I did not expect to get what I got, and it was just an overall just an excellent experience. I really enjoy the action sequences and how fluid they are, and I feel like I have a sense of space, or the way things are laid out. In other words, like, I have a feel like I understand the setting as things are progressing through the setting, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally.
And like I said, I mean, I'm completely surprised. Like, this completely caught me off guard. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do, because like I'm personally not that into samurai manga or things set in or manga set in a historical setting. And this is definitely a game changer, and it makes me want to explore that genre and maybe reevaluate my position on it.
That's big praise, I think.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it is.
Awesome.
I was getting ready to defend it in case somebody was going to go.
You were like,
but I was like, but
dang it!
like,
now
okay,
you don't
great.
now you don't get to argue. No, we'll see. We might get to argue about something. Maybe we all.
We'll see. The night's young.
I have something that we can argue about. I hated the small child. Does anyone want to argue? No.
Yeah, I want to argue your lack of emotion, Lou.
There is emotion. It's rage. That is the emotion that I have.
No, towards the small child.
Yes, he's such an annoying little shit, especially during.
He's like,
you didn't see this. No.
He's supposed to be. Hashtag
But
Lou hates
here's
little
the thing.
child.
Yes, I hate little child. But no, but Erin, you totally missed this. But during the fight between the leader of the Spear guys and Miyamoto, he just out of nowhere just comes in and just starts talking and praising it. And it broke the flow of that fight just enough that it pissed me off. Like, I was so invested in the fight, and then he has his little sequence of dialogue that completely, it irked me a lot, because the entire time he's just talking up his what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say he was talking up his master while he was getting his ass kicked. Like, I get it was for that effect of like, okay, the untrained eye sees it as an even fight, but that it's not really the case.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get that that's what they were building towards, but it still bothered me because it went on a little bit longer than it should have.
Yeah, that would. I'm gonna discuss this, even though I didn't read this part. But I would say that would, just from how you're explaining it, that's definitely a mistake, or like something that the writer did wrong. Like inserting that there would be much more like I wouldn't fault the character overall for that, I guess, in my opinion. Though like he was used for that, I don't know. I'm defending the little shit because I love him.
I gotta explain why it's important, because it kind of builds into his view of his master and then what leads afterwards. And I don't want to spoil because that's past what we read, but I think that just there's a reason why he's praising him so much during the fight, and then things develop in a way that I can't say too much else. But let's just say things it's for a purpose, I should say. I don't know, that character always reminded me a little of Yahiko, but I don't know if I'm the only one who felt that from Rurouni Kenshin. But that's just, something that a lot of manga could do. They use, some characters that are a bit ignorant about the situation to kind of give a layman's idea of what's happening without knowing exactly what's going on during that fight. So
being like an insert
while
character.
You hate him, but there's a reason. Let's just point that out. So yeah.
That mitigates my hatred for him a little bit. But
I'm not just going to defend it for everything. There are problems with it, but that I feel like it's just because we haven't gone past that point. I think that you'll understand a little more, but
fair enough.
We'll see.
I did not expect for the best friend to ever come back.
Me neither.
I was like, oh my god, is that the dude? And then they were like, it's the dude. And I was like, oh my god, that piece of shit is back. Like, I was so surprised. Because,
dude's getting cucked hard. His girl.
I thought it was so interesting that, like, at the very beginning, they had, like, here's the badass, and then here's his best friend who's kind of, like, not as badass, but, like, they proved, oh, he can fight. And you were like, okay, well, he's not useless. He's not just, like, some weenie, right? He's all right. And then he, like, committed ultimate betrayal. Ultimate betrayal. And I was like, nope.
Did they have to bang
For such
did they have to bang while he was dying in the cabin? Like, what?
Right there. The timing, like, just...
It was so bizarre to me.
Yeah. I thought
I was just like...
so weird.
Like, I get this... that it needed a catalyst and move the story along, but it was just a very odd setup for me. Like,
super weird.
Yeah, I don't really
But I liked that it was this really harsh downfall for a character that you later find out is, like, the pride and joy of this town, right? And everybody's like, oh, you're such an asshole. Like, you took him away from us. You took him into battle. He was a great guy. He was gonna, be the head of the family and whatever else. And you're like, no, he's an asshole. He's like, he's the worst. And no one will believe him.
Fuck that grandma.
Yeah, fuck that grandma,
I
by the
hated
way.
the grandma.
You can quote all of us on that. Fuck that grandma.
Fuck that grandma.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
hated her so much.
Me too.
Speaking
It's
of
been a long
female
time
characters,
since I felt that much hate for a character. Yeah?
I was gonna say, speaking of female characters, I really liked Otsu though.
I like
so
Otsu
cute,
a
I love
lot.
Oh, it's adorable.
Yeah.
Can't not like her.
And I love how she felt that betrayal from Dumb Butt Man. And she didn't just mourn him constantly. She's like, all right, moving on from that dick. Like,
I mean, she was very emotional about it for a while in a way that made a lot of sense. Yeah. But then, like, when she was confronted with, well, are you going to at least take advantage of the fact that he wanted to marry you and, like, join this prestigious family? She was like, no.
Exactly.
Absolutely not. And I was like, yay.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
When she goes to the grandma, she's like, I'm not joining your family. Your son's an asshole. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And then just bounce. That was great.
She pieced.
It blows my mind. Okay, the grandma, like, what the fuck? Like, okay, Musashi is like, your son ran away with some lady. Sorry. And she's like, I don't believe you. And then Otsu gets 2 letters, one from the lady and one from her son, that both say, I'm with the lady. Don't come find me. Whoops, my bad. And the grandma's like, it's all a ruse.
In her mind, she's
They're
just one of
all
those
lying
people.
to me.
She's just one of those people that will never acknowledge that her son makes mistakes. Or, she just defends him to the end, no matter what happens. So even the evidence of the letters, like you said, or Musashi coming in and telling her personally, she'll just kind of do some mental gymnastics and say, "Oh no, she forged those letters. This is all a conspiracy against him." She just has that kind of mindset. That's
it's ridiculous. She is stupid.
I liked that we also got that split second of her being upset when she thought that Musashi was dead.
Yeah.
But it was almost as though she was in this split second state of, but my son is gone and the only thing that I was living for was to ruin your life and, cause your death. And to just have him be gone, she was just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That made me happy because I was like, yeah, you don't get validation. You don't get validation of continuing to, yeah.
No, but I'm curious what you guys thought about Matahachi in general, though, because he's very split in the Vagabond community of people who just hate him or people who think he's just a tortured, poor soul that has been put in bad circumstances. I mean, he is, no matter how you look at it, a dick for doing what he did.
The old ex-best friend.
The best friend.
I do not think he has been put in bad circumstances. He has made all of those choices for himself.
Yeah. Well, he does try to redeem himself when he saves Musashi from the fire.
Yeah, I do he does. But I don't know. I can't. There's characters I feel a lot of empathy for, and there's characters that I don't think I will ever be able to produce an iota of empathy for. And he is one of those, or sympathy. He is so far. We'll see. Maybe I'll just be like, oh no, I love him. But I don't know. As of right now, I'm just very dude, you burned so many bridges.
I'm in the way that I look at him right now, where we're at in the story, I'm like, okay, you did something heinous, and now your life is terrible, right? For me, I'm kind of at a neutral point with him. I don't feel bad for him, but I also feel he ruined his life, and his life is awful, and that's what you get. You should have gone back to your village and hung out with your dope-ass fiance, but no.
I guess it's a setup for two very different, redemption stories. Mm-hmm. Which is something that, I think could be really interesting now that we're, talking about it. Because they handled, situations very differently, the two of them. And just seeing how their journeys are going since they started together and seeing how they're going and how they're going to potentially, meet and then cross and, leave again is going to be, a very great storyline. Setup. Zoro, you're just
No, it's. I didn't.
Can't say anything.
I've been you before.
I've been you before too.
I know this feeling. This feeling of just
Contained.
Oh my god, Bloody Monday was this for me, where it was just I get things. Yeah, no, don't worry. We've all been in your place before. Yeah. So let's talk about the main dude a little bit more, what your guys' first impressions of him and how that feelings towards him may have changed is what we read. What were your guys' overall feelings about him?
I always love characters where everybody's he's like a beast. He fights with abandon. I look in his eyes and all I see is instinct, right? That's totally this character.
Yeah.
And I think that I've loved that character type for so long that I've started to kind of dread when I see one, because I'm like, oh no, is this going to be a story that I've read a million times?
Yeah.
Right.
So when we first met him and he was just a badass right off the bat, I was like, okay, I hope, because there are a lot of chapters in this manga. It looks great, but I hope that there's a good story arc for you, right? I hope that there's going to be something that sort of knocks you down and makes you get back up, and that's immediately what we got. So I was really happy about that, and I'm really excited to see him change, because he hasn't been this super stubborn character that I expected, because I definitely expected him to just be a stubborn asshole, and he's not at all. He's been not super quick to second guess himself, but he's taken it very seriously when somebody has made him question something. He doesn't just ignore it. which I really, really appreciate about him. I like that he's taken so much time to be like, why did that monk tell me that I'm weak? And, you know, like when he meets the old man, he spends a lot of time already in these like 10 chapters that we've seen since the old man. He spent a lot of time being like, why is he saying that I don't know like true strengths, right? And I like that he does a lot of that introspective work with himself, and he wants to be like a better, stronger person. So I like him a lot.
I agree with that, because so often we see it like, definitely not this early on, where a character is willing to look at themselves and willing to look at these like weak points that people call out. They're so like bullheaded and just are like, no, that's not how I am. And it takes 30, 50 chapters to like get them to be like, maybe I am like that. And then we have another 50 chapters of them dealing with it. Like, we're already 49 chapters in, and there's been numerous things that he's had to, people have called out and been like, yo, you need to work on this if you want to survive. And he's like, okay, maybe I do. Like, there's always a moment where he is like, no, not at all. But then he does the introspective thing where he starts to consider other people's opinions and other people's input. Yeah. He's not just trying to solo it at all. Like, he's willing to accept people's criticisms, which is nice, refreshing for this type of charpe.
Right. He's constantly questioning himself. But sorry, go on. I keep cutting you off. I feel like an ass.
Sorry. No, all I was gonna say, this may be a really weird comparison, but he reminds me a lot of Kagami from Kuroko. Only his character. It feels like he's taking that character arc that Kagami goes through, and he's progressing through it much faster.
Yeah.
So
he does.
Yeah, so that's just one thing I wanted to draw attention to, and that's how I perceived him the entire time I was reading it.
I totally agree with that. Now that you say that, I'm like, oh, he totally is.
Erin, unfortunately, you didn't see this fight, but the old man also makes him like question how he goes into fights, because like he spends the entire spear battle being like thinking very seriously about death and like how he can live to, you know, see another day and become stronger, like have the chance to become stronger. And I loved that it was pointed out like, well, maybe he, like, a lot of this talent that all of these people are seeing in him is just because he's always gone into battles with complete abandon, right? He just kind of terrifies people because he's so just ready to die in order to make you die, right? And I like that in that fight, immediately everybody's like, something's different here. Like, this is not the same fighting that I'm used to seeing in you, because he's suddenly questioning that too. Yeah,
which is very much like Kagami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how he always questions himself. He's never certain about whether or not. I mean, during the last fight we saw with the Spearmaster, he didn't even. He asked him, "Am I even strong?" He was questioning. He's asking the first person that he's fighting if he's strong. He doesn't even know himself.
Yeah.
So he definitely is going through changes and isn't really confident 100% in his abilities. That's why I think during the last fight, not to spoil Erin, but I like the constant creeping of fear, little by little, as the fight's going on in his mind, because I think he goes in reckless abandon to kind of abolish that fear and just go in, and you know that kind of allows him to not hold back at all and not to hesitate when he's fighting. But now that he's going up against somebody that powerful, that fear is starting to creep up little by little, and it's going to manifest itself in a way. It's pretty interesting. So I think he's so interesting. Musashi, like you said, he's not your typical brute, just, you know, from the mountains badass like you normally see in a lot of series. He does a lot of introspection throughout the course of the series. Like someone posted in the comments, he's very Zen-like, and that's the historical character. Not that the series is completely true to the historical character, so that's not technically a spoiler, but it is definitely exaggerated in some senses. But this is much more of not only a physical battle series as it is a philosophical series about how you approach things. So I really like that aspect of it. Yeah. So.
And he's so in love with Otsu, and he's so confused.
I love that he's
30
like.
episodes, you're like, oh no, am I? Oh, am I? Yes,
it's
am
so
no.
Cute.
No,
He's like, yes, he knows.
And I think about her all the time.
Yeah, he straight up was like. Sorry. He straight up was like, chapter 30, he's like, yeah, I love Otsu, or whatever. And so it's like nice to not have all of that forced like back and forth with that either.
Right.
Which is just so great.
Yeah.
It's really
It
nice.
is.
Yeah.
It is. Now, what do you guys feel about Takuan, though? Because Takuan's probably my favorite. Of the first 50 chapters, the monk.
I love him.
He's great.
He's so funny. He's great. Like, I want him to be my senpai.
Like I said before, though, I kind of forgot to mention this. Like, Musashi, you know, the funniest part probably was when he drew, like, the little face and the hair
Yeah.
when he was cutting his hair.
I laughed out loud at that. I, like, snorted.
Same.
And then I like that he does, like, his whole, like, head rub, and then he feels it. He's like, oh, no. This isn't going to fly. He makes him, like, still says it all up. So good.
Then he's more calm.
That character, I realized he was going to be awesome when that dude had just been squatting in Musashi Village forever, and or Miyamoto Village, sorry. And the girl was like, he's useless, he's the worst. And the monk was like, cool, let's go tell him that. Just like sat down and was like, you're the worst, by the way.
Yes.
You're drunk.
Yeah.
You're terrible.
You're literally not doing anything. You're ruining our economy. What do you have to show for it? Nothing? That's cool. You should probably just kill yourself. I was like, dang.
He's so, like, just straight up.
No, and you can also tell that he has a really interesting backstory. Like, there's definitely a lot there that needs to be explored. And I'm hoping it gets explored sooner rather than later, because honestly, of all the characters, he's the one I want to learn the most about, because he's the one that strikes me as most mysterious.
Yeah. Didn't somebody recognize his name or something?
Oh,
I think in the early chapters.
Yeah, somebody
It was
the ninja dude, right?
No, it was the dude, the drunk. When somebody came in and called him by his name, the drunk was like,
Oh. Yeah.
but we don't know
After
why.
he cut him, try to cut him. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that scene with the ninja guy where Takuan just intimidated him and he just ran away.
Just appeared and the guy's like, peace!
That one pass was insane.
Yeah.
So definitely, that was really nice,
Yeah.
and it showcases that he has a very interesting backstory. He does. So
He's a character from the instant he was, like, introduced. I was like, I have seen your character before, and I always love that kind of character that's, like, very, very sly, and obviously has a really mysterious background, but, like, puts up this front that he's just a happy-go-lucky, like, quirky, funny dude. I always really love those characters, and so, like Lou said, I really hope earlier rather than later we get to find out more about who he is. And, like, the way he scared off that ninja dude was intense. That was one of my favorite scenes. Like, it was, like, 3 panels. But it's like,
that was good. That was
Well,
good. I like to force himself on Musashi and basically tells him, you should do this, you should do that. He gives him ideas to think about and makes him make his own decisions.
Yeah.
He even at one point there was 2 crossroads. You can come with me and go with Otsu, or you can go here and go fight your battles. It's up to you to decide. And then Musashi chose his path. So it's not like he's preaching, but at the same time he's giving Musashi the choice to make at the end of the day. He's not like telling or forcing Musashi to do things his way. He's making him understand his own way of going about things, and I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was
Done.
like, total agreement with that.
Done.
Let's talk about the ninja dude. What are you guys' thoughts on Ninja Man? Even though we don't know a ton about him, but like he's obviously... Guys, I'm gonna bet he comes back at some point.
Because he has a cool design. Is that what you're basing it on?
Laying it all out.
Because that's what I would base it on.
Yeah.
Like,
Because he
I'm not
actually
gonna waste this design for nothing.
Yeah, he was given more than like 5 lines of dialogue.
I don't know. He seems like he could be cool.
Like, the thing is, I could take it or leave it, because like since then several other interesting antagonists have appeared.
Yeah.
Like the leader of the dojo from the womanizer guy.
Can I put my hand in?
Oh my god.
That's a
That
quote.
made
If
me
you guys haven't read the
snort
manga,
so
that's an actual
loud.
quote.
Oh no,
Can
you just made me think about the lead.
Oh my god. I was just like, what?
Such a smooth talker.
So smooth.
I'm gonna use that line sometime. Hey, can I put your hand in? my hand in?
Can I put your hand in?
No,
I'm obviously real smooth. Can I put your
as
hand?
funny and random as that scene was, the most random and funny scene was probably Eileen to the right.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
ball grabbing scene.
That was
Guys, this
weird,
manga's
too.
great.
It's like, all right.
For a second, I was like trying to figure out. I was like, is he saying he's gay? Like, is that what he's saying?
Nope, he was grabbing his
He
junk.
just,
Nope.
he just means
Actually
one of
just
his
grabbing his
testes is larger than the other. Significantly so, apparently.
Oh man.
Yeah, that scene was really. The humor is very, like it's very reminiscent of Reel's humor in like what I've seen of Slam Dunks, like Slam Dunks humor. It's very, it's very strange humor, but it's funny. I don't know, like it's very weird humor.
Yeah, it's few and far between, but
Yeah.
like when it's funny, it's funny.
Yeah.
He knows that's funny.
You know what I want to know so badly
What?
is if that dojo actually caught fire. I want to know if that happened in real life.
Oh, I was like,
Oh.
it's pretty clear in the manga.
No,
they were
no, no,
like,
no.
That
"We should
place
rip
caught
this down
fire."
so
Based off of, like, a real
Caught
dude.
fire.
I want to know if he like
Yeah.
literally did go challenge this group of people and then got saved by a fire. I want to know so bad.
I'm interested too now that you say that, because I want to know all about the dude that this is based off of.
Yeah. It's like when I watched Vikings for the first time and I was like, I need to go read about all of these people because they were all real people. Now I want to do the same thing with this.
Yeah.
What was I had a question. Yeah, let's talk about Playboy more. What were your guys' thoughts on him? Playboy Dojo Man.
It's a pretty good magazine. I don't know. He was weird.
He was
Like,
very weird.
He was.
I like the dynamic between him and his brother.
Me too.
Like
Yeah,
it's a
he's the
very
older
common.
brother?
He was the older brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
That's why.
Playboy is the older brother.
All right, like I like that dynamic between the two of them because it's a very common trope in anime to have like one super serious sibling and then the other more laid back and relaxed. Just that interesting dichotomy and how they both handle swordsmanship and what their approach to being a warrior is. And I like that it takes serious circumstances for him to more or less change what he's going to do. And yeah, I liked the pairing of them, and I'm curious to see where or how they will come into play in the story later because they're not done, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. I'm curious
Oh,
to see how he
Yeah, the younger
will.
brother had that vow to fight them, so
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to see how Miyamoto will fight them and how that fight will go after he grows, after he takes his time to mature and change, going through all these experiences, particularly this fight that we're watching or reading right now.
Yeah. I thought it was cool how by the end of that arc, like after the whole thing had caught fire and everything, you could kind of see through all of the interactions why the elder brother actually in some ways was a good leader. Because the younger one was super quick to fight, right? Just like took it very seriously, was very easy to rattle and get upset. And I liked that we got to see that as a juxtaposition to the other brother who's like, look, like I know when to fight and now is not the time for me to fight, so I'm gonna go. And I was like, if only you two could just become one person, you'd be the perfect leader, but that's not how this goes.
Usually the character designs are switched on that too.
Yeah.
Like personality, like those personalities are usually in those opposite bodies. So that was nice. That was a nice change. Too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about art.
So good.
Real good.
So good.
Always
It's,
so good.
The color pages, so good.
Ah!
Yeah.
It's great.
It's probably my favorite in terms of art. Well, top three at least. It's hard to choose. Every day it changes, but
Yeah.
I definitely recommend you guys, anybody out there that hasn't or plans to read more Vagabond, to buy the Vizbigs. They are fantastic. I own a bunch of Vizbigs of Vagabond, and they take the art which is already fantastic, and they put it to another level. It's like watching paintings. Each page, it's beautiful. It really is. So I recommend getting those Vizbigs, guys. They're pretty cheap overall, pretty thick, beautiful art. What more do you want? Like, they're amazing.
I will say though that of the mangaka's work, I prefer the art in real. Maybe that's because it's more current than the section of Vagabond that we read.
Yeah.
But I definitely love the art. Like I said a couple times, everything looks really clean. There's a good sense of spacing and like there is a certain flow to each character's movement, and the way they flow is different from one character to another, particularly like the actual major characters.
I think
Yeah.
I'm wondering if another reason that you prefer this art style in conjunction with a story like Real maybe is because there are some points where there's almost a graffiti element to his art. There are points like anytime there's a character who's supposed to seem not necessarily frazzled, but just like grabbing focus, or like any moment in this where they talk about the bloodthirst, right? There's a distinctly like sketchy graffiti feel to it. It feels, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
At one point, I believe, and I could be wrong about this, but I remember reading somewhere, or I don't know when this was, but Inoue at one point during Vagabond changed his he used to use a pen, and now he uses a brush. Now I don't know when that started, and I could be completely wrong about this, but this is a common knowledge I think about Inoue and Vagabond, and the art automatically took like a big shift in the way that it looked. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure at some point he changed to a brush, which made it very hard for him to actually do all of this and to write the story, without messing up because it smudges and whatnot. I'm not an artist, keep in mind, so it might sound kind of stupid when I'm saying this, but it gave it much more of a like I said, a painting feel to the story and to the artwork. So I don't know if any of you guys can notice that, or if it didn't happen yet, that shift, but I remember at some point he did make that shift from like a pen to a brush, and it kind of, yeah.
That's really, that is really interesting.
I mean, I don't think that's happened yet from what we've read.
Yeah, I haven't seen like a distinct change at all.
I haven't either. But now that you say that, I'm like really interested to like see when it happens.
Yeah. Sure.
What?
I was saying someone in the comments put that the Inoue uses brushstrokes line. The way Inoue uses brushstroke lines, sometimes you feel like you're watching a better version of Street Fighter. But yeah, pretty much.
I was gonna say, I said this about Reels, like when I commented on the art when we were reading Real, that the art feels so non-anime to me. Like, it's just so, I don't know, it's very realistic. Like, it looks like I'm looking at real people. Like, doesn't feel comic booky or anything. Like, the moments that it feels like Dodger is saying, the graffiti, that's when it feels a little bit more comic booky to me. But with this, it feels like I'm looking at portraits of people, like every single scene. Like, the features are never crazy exaggerated. Like, they're all distinct, but just the sense of realism is very strong with it. Which I think for a manga like this, where it's trying to be historical, it's very important that that's there, because if it was a little bit more extravagant in the character designs and the backgrounds and stuff, it would feel really like distorted. Like, I would feel very confused about the atmosphere and where I was supposed to be. And so I think the art is very fitting for the story it's trying to tell.
I do have one critique of the art. It's, I think, a minor critique, and I think it's understandable that it's as such. A lot of the background characters, or let's say maybe somewhere between background and supporting characters. Like, for example, all the people in each dojo that aren't main characters or aren't directly involved with what's going on, they all look very similar to me. And I had trouble telling people apart a lot of the time.
During the fight, like the first dojo fight where he killed 5 men, I was like, are you sure he killed that person? Because it looks like they're still standing right there. But yeah, all the characters just looked really similar. Like the background characters looked very similar. Yeah. I agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
All right. So do you guys have anything else you would like to touch on? Otherwise, we'll wrap up and give our final thoughts and ratings.
Erin, you have to read those last 10 chapters.
Definitely.
No, next MangaPod, I'm just going to skip over those 10.
No, don't. No, Erin. Erin, please.
Start on chapter 15.
Erin, no.
Erin, no. I know, I need to read. I will. I'll probably try and read them tomorrow. So I feel so silly. You guys were like, didn't we read to 39? Or 49? I was like, oh no. Whoa, whoops. Whoopsies. So, does anybody want to give their final thoughts and ratings?
Oh, got a rating. Dang, I feel like I'm going to give this a really high rating.
Yeah. I think I'll give it an 8.5, like, for what we've read, and, like, I'm pretty sure it's going to go up from there, because already what we've started has set up and laid the groundwork for so much, and, like, tons of different plot lines with different characters, and we have so much to see with the different characters, and the elements that are here that have been done in other mangas before, here they feel very refreshing. Like the protagonist who is actually taking time to like look at himself and like introspect and figure out how to be a better fighter and isn't just a better fighter. And it set up a lot of interesting relationships where there's not all this back and forth that is very annoying and tiring. And it's really great action. Like, the pacing of the action is just outstanding. And so it does everything that a manga, historical action manga, wants to do. It does it excellent. And so, at least, no, I'm going to do a 9.2. I'm going to do a 9.2567. Real creative with that number. So, and I haven't even read the last 10 chapters, but still, from the part that I read, like, I think it's worthy of that. And the art, like I said, is very fitting and also just gorgeous. So.
Yeah. I was like, I want to give it a 9.5. Am I actually going to give it a 9.5? And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I'm going to give it a 9.5. Just because it was so good. Like, the problems I have with it are so minimal that I can't, like, there's no reason for me to bump that score down. I think the art is fantastic. The story is so engaging. I love the characters, and I am really, really excited to read more. So I, like, highly recommend it. Highly, highly, highly. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Both of you, with your explanations of your high ratings, have persuaded me to raise my score. I was originally going to give it an 8.5 because I think it did a lot of things right, but we haven't seen much of the story yet.
It's true.
And but no, I can't leave it at just an 8.5, so I'm going to give it a 9. Just 9 even. It was a fantastic read, and I really hope that we read it again very soon. And I regret that we've canceled it so many times.
I know.
Yeah, me too. Oh my god.
Like, we could have been on like the 3rd podcast by now.
Exactly. We'd be like at chapter 150, like halfway through the story.
It just sucks that like it never worked out. Thanks.
Yeah. Despite the fact that I've pretty much gushed over this series this entire time, I'm gonna give it a 9 only because I know that it only gets better and better from here. This is honestly just the foundation for the story, and it sets up characters and exactly what they are and what they're trying to do and what their goals are and who they are as people. So I only know that it gets better, and the art's gonna get better, the characters are gonna get better, the situations are gonna get better, the action's gonna get even better. So I honestly, I'll give it a 9 only because if I were to give it 9.5, I know how much better it gets. I couldn't go that high, but yeah, I'm gonna go for a 9 right now. And definitely, I recommend everyone out there. They've read the first 50. Keep going, guys. You're missing. You've got so much more greatness to come. It's. I'm just gonna stop fanboying. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. So there you have it. All of us highly recommend that you check it out. Just, I was gonna say, especially if you like historical, but just do it anyway.
Yeah,
Even if you
no,
don't,
just
just
read it. It's great. Doesn't
just
matter.
go and read it. And I wanted to say really quick, I looked up the Vagabond Viz Big edition on Amazon, and in the description it says Vagabond is based on the novel Musashi by Eiji Yoshikawa. Originally written in the early 40s, Yoshikawa's fictional account became so well known that his version has blurred fact from fiction. So that was really interesting. Yeah. So now I'm like, I want to read the facts, and then I also want to read that novel.
The novel?
So that
Me too. I really want to read the novel now too.
All right. So that wraps up our description. That was our discussion. Thank you, Lou. I'm so happy you're here. That wraps up our discussion on Vagabond, chapters 1 through 49, volumes 1 through 5. So I'm going to read the description for the manga that we are reading next week, and then everybody in chat gets to guess what it is. Oh boy! Oh boy! Okay. Oh boy! Prepare to get swept away by this epic story and colorful cast of characters that will rewrite the history of manga as we know it. A fantasy adventure tour de force has been born. Blank is a legendary gang of rebels that was blamed for the overthrow of the kingdom. Even after all these years, the kingdom's central guards, each of whom is a match for 1,000, the Blanks, are hunting down these wanted criminals. But when a young girl appears with an earnest wish in her heart and a determination to find the Blanks, the world gets turned on its head and an extraordinary adventure begins. The curtain has been lifted for this thrilling, heroic fantasy story like none you've ever seen.
Guess.
I think I know what that is. But.
Guess, chat.
Wait,
Chat.
has nobody guessed?
Chat.
Chat, come on.
Really? No one.
Come on.
Maybe
Come on,
chat's
chats.
frozen?
Come on, chats.
Oh, yeah, Gabs.
Gabs.
Gabs got it.
Yeah, Gabs. Everybody's like, oh.
Oh. I know this one.
Yes, we are reading 7 Deadly Sins. Chapters. Hold on. Chapters 1 through 29, volumes 1 through 4. And Tensai Twister will be joining us for that. He is awesome. So, yeah, so definitely come and join us next week. Let's go ahead and shout out our stuff super duper fast, going in the order that we started with. I'm Erin. Hi, I'm HappiLeeErin. If you're watching this on YouTube, you are watching it on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/HappiLeeErin. I do all sorts of weeb-related stuffs. I haven't done anything in a while, mostly just MangaPods. So I will be hoping to do my top 5 first impressions of anime from the 2016 winter season. Look forward to that. It's going to be quality. And I also do mental health awareness stuff. So if you want to check out my stuff, you can go over there. And then I'm HappiLeeErin all across the everything else. I spam a lot of nonsense on Twitter if you're into that. So that's me.
Hi everybody, I'm Dodger. You might be watching this show on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/dexteritybonus. But I also do YouTube, youtube.com/presshearttocontinue. I play visual novels and dating sims and stuff like that. And yeah, on pretty much everything I'm at Dexbonus, DEXBONUS. I would love it if you would come and hang out, follow me on stuff. That would be cool. Or just, have a great day. Read manga.
Finger guns.
Yeah, just like that guy.
I guess that's getting like all over the place. I'm really happy that I posted that.
My name is Lou, and I'm from Lou Talks Anime. You can find me at youtube.com/Lou Talk. Lou Talks Anime now, where I talk at length about weeb trash. Though I am not I wouldn't say taking a hiatus, but I'm focusing on another project that I'm working on with a bunch of other anime YouTubers, a podcast that we're putting together. So follow my Twitter if you want more information on that, including a link to that Twitter lots of stuff going on that I'm going to be working on with some of my friends. So my Twitter is at Lou Talks Anime, and Instagram and AskFM if you want to do the socials with me, Lou Talks Anime. And that's my stuff. What's up?
Holla.
All right. How's it going, guys? ZoroFanboy124 here. My channel, mostly, if you couldn't guess already, focuses around One Piece. I do One Piece manga discussions, review for the chapters. I do a lot of live streams, mostly anime manga discussions, where I just hang out and talk to the subscribers about different anime manga topics. I also, ironically enough, review Vagabond, the manga, so if you're...
Nice!
So, if you guys are caught up, check it out whenever the series is off hiatus, because it's always on hiatus, so... Waiting on that. But yeah, also Game of Thrones I review as well, Walking Dead, so if you're into that as well, check it out. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this discussion. I had a great time. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Thank you much for joining us. You were awesome. So glad we were able to have you on for like one of your favorite manga. Your favorite manga. It was great to have you. Thank you. And you'll definitely have to come back for the next time we talk about Vagabond, because we'll be for sure discussing more of it. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, chat, both on YouTube and Twitch, for joining us as well. We will be here same time, same place next week, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, here on twitch.tv/dexteritybonus, as well as youtube.com/HappiLeeErin. We're reading 7 Deadly Sins, chapters 1 through 29, with special guest... approximately squiggly line with Tensai Twitter, so we hope that you are able to join us, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bang, bang,
Oops.
bang.
Oops. Wrong button.